everyone, welcome to Short Stories with Julie. I am the aforementioned Julie. So today we are going to a story that I wrote for my newsletter in November 2019, and it's called The Black Hole. I was inspired to write this story because of a short story fiction contest and for sci-fi, and it was actually for pulp science fiction. So I had started writing the story, and about halfway through I decided to actually research what pulp science fiction was because I didn't actually know what pulp sci-fi was. So I did the research and realized that this story was not appropriate. So I actually wrote a second story for the submission, which I will share with you later, but I still decided to finish this first short story I had started for my newsletter. And I decided to write this short story for my newsletter. And I decided for the format this time, I'm trying something different, so probably every short story I'll maybe do something a little different for how I present it, and you guys can always leave comments on what kind of format you prefer. So today, instead of reading out of a journal or a book, I'm reading it directly off of my screen because, I'm super high tech and I'm just using my laptop camera to do these videos. Eventually, maybe I'll get more high tech. So for today, let us begin with The Black Hole. This was it. This was the moment she was going to die. Alarms rang throughout the ship. There was only darkness ahead of her as she turned the autopilot off and took the helm. Tristan was no fool, and she had warned the scientists that they were getting too close. Their excitement at the opportunity to study the black hole had overridden her precautions and concerns. Admittedly, her own curiosity had gotten her into this mess. She had wanted to see the spectacle up close as much as anyone. It's why she had volunteered to pilot the shuttle in the first place. Sweat ran down the side of her forehead as she held on to the controls, willing the craft to stay in place. Her efforts had slowed the ship's descent, but there was no stopping it now. The hungry dark mass was ready to swallow the ship whole. The engines were overheating. Smoke filled the room, making it hard to breathe. It wouldn't be long now. The metal creaked and groaned, warping under the intense stress. Tristan closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Her arms growing weary. The ship would be empty now, evacuated. The escape pods would be arriving at station E5 within the hour. She would be dead before they arrived. Hero wasn't a word used to describe Tristan. In fact, sacrificing herself for a ship full of people was the last thing anyone would have expected of her, including herself. It's almost time now. Every second she could hold on was an extra second the others had of escaping. When they had discovered their inevitable doom, the scientists had all gathered together, spinning wild theories of possible escape scenarios, each one stranger and more improbable than the last. In the end, she had been the one to figure it out. Expanding their protective shield and reversing the polarity while forcing the engines would release a wave of energy capable of pushing the escape pods out of the black hole's gravitational pull. Only problem, someone needed to stay behind to push the engines manually. The computer systems would have malfunctioned before everyone had left. So here she was, sacrificing herself for a bunch of jerks that had ignored her. There was no one else she trusted to do this right except herself. If one of the others had stayed, they would have messed it up or lost their nerve. The lights were flashing wildly, indicating massive hull breaches in several areas. Just a little longer. She should be making peace with a god, or reminiscing about her life. Isn't that what people did at the end? Make some sort of sappy, inspiring message for those they left behind. Words weren't really her thing, nor tears or heartfelt, inspiring messages. It was time to let go. With a great exhale, she opened her cramped hands and sat back, waiting for the end. Pain seared through her body as the time distortion ripped the ship apart. Then, nothing. Time was still. There was no pain. It was searing light and suffocating darkness, all at once. She felt nothing, yet everything at once. She wasn't breathing, yet it was comfortable, normal. There was absolute silence, an experience she had never had. The silence was both terrifying and comforting. A cacophony of voices broke the silence. Welcome, 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 welcome. There was a large presence around her. She couldn't see it because she had no eyes, and she realized she hadn't heard it because she had no ears. In a panic, she tried to move, but she had no body. Calm, 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 calm. The dissonance in the voices made it hard for her to understand. Instinctively, she stopped, took a moment to reason. She was incorporeal somehow. Whether by death or by these creatures, she wasn't in a human body, which meant she couldn't move or use her senses the way she was used to. Her thoughts were her own, thankfully. With intense concentration, she willed her way forward. It worked. She could sense a change in her position within the expanse. The voices came again, discordant. She focused, willing the voices together into one speaker. There was still a slight echoing as it spoke, but Tristan could understand it now. You are learning. You are doing well. This is good. Although the words now came out synchronized as one, there were still thousands of presents around her. She focused, aiming to give the presences a form, but quickly realized they took whatever shape she imagined. In the end, the image of little stars seemed easiest to focus on. More progress. You learn fast. This is good. With her thoughts, she spoke to the entities. Who are you? We are many. Yes, I see that. I meant, what are you? It is hard to explain. We are what we are, beings beyond your understanding. Am I dead? If you mean, is your flesh shell damaged beyond your knowledge to repair, then yes. If you mean, are you no longer living, then no. Are you gods? We are beings unbound by time or space, capable of manipulating energy and matter to our whims. Some might use the term gods to describe us. The term is inaccurate if you consider us as your creators. We are not from this universe. Why am I here? What do you want? She sensed hesitation and discomfort from the entities. We made a mistake. We were arrogant. We tried to manipulate life. We tried to improve it, but it went horribly wrong. We created a plague instead. This plague has consumed many universes, including our own. This is why we stay in the space between universes, where they cannot follow. Tristan felt the creature's overwhelming fear and shame. She fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. The plague is now in your universe. We have come to warn you and help you. Help us? If you created these creatures, the Kilntars, that is what they call themselves. If you created these Kilntars, and you can't stop them yourselves, how do we have any chance? We do not know, but we must try. It is time to go. We give you the power of the void and the knowledge you need. What do you mean? I can't do this alone. I'm just a pilot. The shapes grabbed her, and there was searing pain in her head. Stop! It hurts! It is done. We must go. Wait, I can't. I don't understand. The pain grew and traveled to her chest. She needed to breathe. Why couldn't she breathe? Stop. The light grew uncomfortably bright, hurting her eyes. Wake up! Her body felt heavy and cold, so cold. Breathe, damn it, breathe! Pain in her chest, her head, everywhere. Tristan, come on! The sound of her name brought her back with a large inhale, and she sat up. The strength left her quickly, but someone was there to catch her as she fell back, shivering. She looked up at the familiar faces of the medical team on Station E5. She grabbed Dr. Ella's arm firmly with the little strength she had left. I need a ship. Exhausted, she leaned back on the table and rested. She had a lot of work to do. And that is the end of our story for now. For our next story, it'll actually be still with Tristan and a little bit jump into the future as to what has happened to her and a little bit more about her. So I hope you enjoyed this story. Once again, I will continue sharing these, and maybe I'll just be talking to myself and no one will see them, or maybe many of you will come to enjoy them, whether it is right now or in the future, many, many years from now. I hope you can just feel free to comment, Please subscribe, like, comment, share, all that jazz. And you can always follow me. The best way to get my stories and be the first to see them is to follow me on Patreon, and of course to join my Patreon. That way you help to support me and my writing career, and it's just, I love to share my stories with everyone. And with my newsletter, you get a new story every month. You also get some awesome book reviews or TV show reviews, depending what my mood is that month. I'll give you different reviews, and that's it. And of course, you are the first to get to see these new videos. As you can see, I'm a little bit behind. Purposely, I do the videos a little bit behind the ones that I do written. So once again, thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.